There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
What's up, and welcome into episode number 121 of the Program Guys Podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger. Today is Tuesday, May 7th. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can follow us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the social medias. You can find us right there. You can also follow us on our audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. Boys, I'm fired up. All five guys back for the people this week.
Back first time in a while.
It feels like it's been a long time. But happy to have everybody back. It's fun. We got a fun show ready for the people. How's everybody doing? Ryan, of course, get it started, man.
You know me. It's been great. I've missed you guys. I've been gone a few weeks. I love seeing everybody. Of course, Matt Gann has his Dallas Stars jersey on. We already know who your MVP is going to be. So
that's fine. That's fine. The Dallas Stars can be his MVP, but they're not going to be mentioned in this podcast until his MVP. I'm telling you that right now, because we're not doing that. Just telling you right now. Mark, how you living? Cool hat, by the way. Great hat.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Call me a delicious but overpriced burger, because I'm glad I'm with five guys right now. And
love it.
I'm
That was a Mason joke. That's what that was.
It was.
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to see everyone's face. We've got a jam-packed episode today. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's about it. Things are good.
How does Five Guys stay in business? I truly want to know.
Because
how do they stay in
prices
business?
are so high. They sell like 3 burgers, and they've made
do people
They made their nut for the day.
because of how high their prices are? I never go there.
I never go.
Do
I
other
don't care how
people?
many fries are giving
okay.
me. I don't care.
All right. Let's get into this, because I think that Five Guys is like a status thing. So like people are
No
like,
way.
yeah, I can afford Five Guys.
No.
I'm going to do this. And
Like your
Mason,
guac is extra at Chipotle.
my biggest reason is that, most of this country is in a lot of debt. And so people just do whatever they want, use credit cards for everything. And this is what we do.
It's all Fugazi.
This is how
None
the
of it's
economy
real.
works.
Fugazi. Is a trade deficit real? Who knows?
What kind of, the markup they just have on potatoes, though?
Yeah.
Specifically the potato, because those fries are insanely overpriced. And
so crazy.
A potato is...
Don't they
cheap.
charge an extra $1 just to put more seasoning on it? Do you guys know how cheap seasoning is?
Cajun seasoning or something.
No, it's actually it's the same price. Unlike guys, I don't see it as a status thing. It's about a once every 9 months thing in my household. Probably a little more than once a year, but not not much more. They're the same price, and it's a nice little luxury fast food.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's a luxury fast food. So how much are people going there? Because they're I feel like they have a lot of chains, and they all cannot be making enough money to stay in business.
I think they're pretty crowded in the big cities. I know every time I walked by one in Chicago, they were packed.
Got it.
But I will say you can go to In-N-Out and get 5 burgers for the same price.
In-N-Out sucks though.
Okay, well, a lot of people disagree.
Bro, you can get five burgers at Brahms.
Brahms is
$5.95.
Sorry, I was very close to the mic, but I got very excited.
The bag of burgers, bro.
Bag of burgers.
Brahms is
In-N-Out's definitely better than Brahms.
Disagree. Hardcore.
Oh
Just
man, I think Brahms is better than.
I think Brahms is better.
I do miss Brahms.
Thank you, Patrick.
Fellas.
Let's wrap this up. Wrap this up. Everyone just say their favorite fast food place, and we'll keep going to Oklahoma football stuff.
Whataburger.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sweet Greens.
Oh, Matt, you're such a
Jesus. Leave.
Hey, give us the answer you would have given 2 years ago, please.
Yeah. No, give us an answer.
Greens.
Taco Bell. There it is.
Yeah, it's definitely Taco Bell.
Yeah, I was about to say, give us an answer that when you're a real person.
Whataburger.
Yeah, good call.
Whataburger.
Love it. Let us know down below in the comments how overpriced Five Guys is. Pat, tell us. I thought you ran.
I think it's Cane's for me.
Ooh, Cane's good too.
It's a good one.
I had Cane's yesterday. It was lit. I loved it.
Pat, did I ever take you to Zaxby's?
Yeah, Zaxby's is good.
That's good.
Dude, I couldn't get behind the fries.
Yeah, fries are tough. The fries are tough.
Those crinkle fries are
Make it up for the cheese curds, though, right?
Yep.
I love that. This guy gets it.
Here's the we're gonna jump right into Circle of Wagons and the guy who's waving the towel around and loves his salads, Matt Gann.
That's right.
Circle the Wagons for us to start the show. Go ahead, Matt.
Let's start. Let's do it with OU's men's basketball having some more transfer portal news. It only feels like it gets worse, even with some of the guys that are coming in. But let's jump into it. They have one transfer out and one transfer in, or at least a guy that entered the portal in the last week. That is Caden Cooper, who is a 6'5" freshman. He was a former top 70 recruit. That is the gentleman that put his name recently into the portal. A guy coming in, High Point transfer Duke Miles, who averaged 17.5, 3.6 assists, and 2.5 rebounds, chose his hometown team of Auburn to come play in Norman, Oklahoma for Porter Moser. I think this is actually a pretty big win because this was one of the last guys who was still being highly recruited in the portal to choose Norman over his hometown college of Auburn. Again, heading into the SEC, going to be a common opponent. Big transfer in, but you don't like to see a freshman that was coming into next year who potentially had a good shot of playing and was a highly talented recruit putting his name in the portal. So it has been a very up and down transfer portal, probably more down than up for OU's men's basketball as they just try to figure out what guys are going to come in. And again, based on the starting lineup and who's going to be there, we have nobody coming back from this team other than maybe one guy off the bench. So it's going to be a brand new OU basketball team starting this upcoming season. Let's get into softball. 36-3, 13-1 is their regular season as they finished up with a home series against the Oklahoma State Cowgirls, number 4 in the nation, and actually ended up losing 2 out of 3 of those games. Not sure if any of the guys got to be able to watch. Obviously, Kelly Maxwell, who transferred from Oklahoma State, head coach of the Cowgirl, was not very pleased by that move, got her start in the first game, and actually did not pitch very well as the Cowgirls took the first 2 games and OU rebounding in the third one to finish out the regular season. Boys, any thoughts on OU's softball? Again, 46-2 overall, 22-5 in conference play. Is this the same elite team that we've seen the last few years? Any thoughts?
It's not, but most teams in the country would give anything to have a down year for Oklahoma softball. And with the talent and leadership and seniority, in addition to the youth, because you look at the lineup, there are freshmen playing, right? There are freshmen starting. But they've got such a team that if they are to catch fire, would any of you be completely shocked? Because I'm not. They showed it throughout the season. They just also had downturns like most of these teams do. The difference is we have the greatest coach that's ever existed. And we're led by 3-time champions running for a 4th. No one else in the country has something like that. It gives us the biggest target on our back, but no one else has something like that. So it's not the same thing, but it's not impossible still. If it's Oklahoma and any other team, like if it's Oklahoma versus the field, you take the field. But if it's Oklahoma or you got to pick someone, you take Oklahoma still, right?
Yeah, I do. And the only thing that I have to say about this is however many college softball teams there are in the country, I can guarantee you none of them want to see OU in May or June. I can tell you right now they don't. Not even Oklahoma State after taking 2 out of 3. I can guarantee you they don't want to see OU again. Because if you're telling me that it's OSU-OU in a national championship final series, I don't think OSU wants to play that series. I don't think they do. No one does. So, yeah, is it a down year for sure? But do you still have faith in this team because of, like Mark said, who's in the dugout? 100%. I'll take Patty Gasso versus anybody. Okay. It's great podcasting.
Well, no,
Matt, continue.
Yeah, sorry.
I was that's beautiful stuff, boys.
Yeah, I wanted you to finish your thought, but we keep talking a down year
Awesome.
with only 6 losses. I mean, that is, I think,
exactly
to Mark's
right.
point, any team would take less than double-digit losses especially for a program that has been so consistent. And this might be the new normal. Maybe we're entering an era of OU losing more than 4 games in a season. We'll just have to see. But again, they have a lot of turnover. They still have, to Mark's point, a good veteran roster, a good veteran presence, but they are having a lot more freshmen and younger players fill in some of those slots. And to be such an elite and consistent program, and for us to even question, hey, is 6 losses a down year? That's the type of softball dominance that OU has had for a long period of time. And I have no doubt that heading into the SEC with this coaching staff and with these players that will continue to be recruited, OU softball will have no problem transitioning into the SEC. And they did just land. So big news, recruiting news on that front. They got the number 1 overall commitment or player in the 2025 class, and Lexi McDaniel from St. Joseph, Missouri. She's a middle infielder as well. So OU will have no problem continue on the recruiting front. They will continue to get high-class profile players in the transfer portal as well as on the recruiting front. So hopefully they continue to play well. They will play in the Big 12 tourney as the number 2 seed, so they will get a first-round bye, and they will play the winner of Kansas and Houston before a potential rebound match against OSU if they end up winning their first-round matchup with BYU. And again, this is one of the first times OU is not a number 1 seed. It's actually Texas. So Big 12 does have some good opponents in their standings. So good luck to the girls as they play this upcoming weekend. On the other diamond, OU baseball continues to play extremely well the last few months, especially in Big 12 play. Overall, 29-17. They're 18-6 in conference play, where they recently swept Texas Tech, and they've, I believe, had 5 total sweeps in Big 12 play, which is a very outstanding place to be. They are in firm control of first place in the Big 12 standings with 3 games ahead of Oklahoma State, Texas, and West Virginia, who are all tied, I believe, at 15 and I want to say 5 or 6, but they're all 3 games behind. With 6 Big 12 games to go, they will play an upcoming series against Baylor and Norman before playing one other team and then Cincinnati to finish out the season. So OU baseball, Skip Johnson, whereas a few months ago, really questioning some of the decisions he's making, obviously has this team on a roll. And again, every time I talk to Insider Heil, he pretty much predicted this is how it's going to be. So
they're humming.
They are humming. They're playing well
at the right time.
And this is what happened last year. They got very hot, or 2 years ago, they got very hot heading into the Big 12 tournament. And it seems like they're doing it again and finally figuring it out.
I saw a statistic that in baseball, we've never won the regular season Big 12. Like, not the championship, but like regular season. Yeah, knock on all the wood in the world. But that'd be pretty cool to win that for the first time in your last year in Big 12. So,
absolutely.
Going on top.
So I got a couple more games to play. OU's men's golf, which I haven't gave an update in a while. They recently competed in the Big 12 tourney, became placed second with a score of under 7. Texas, who was number 1, shot under 25. So a pretty wide gap in the Big 12 tournament for golf. They will compete in the NCAA regionals upcoming on May 13th through the 15th. Location and who they will compete has yet to be announced. But again, heading into the postseason under Mr. Coach Heupel as well. So they will continue to play on. Men's tennis and women's tennis. Last 2 teams to talk about as they entered the postseason last week. Both competed in the regionals. OU's men's tennis ended 24-4, 6-1 in conference play. So really good regular season. They beat UT Arlington in the first round 4-0 before getting their season ended by number 19 Stanford 4-2. They were down 3 points to 0, came back 3-2 before losing the final points, which I believe was a doubles match, and ending their season. Very similar to women's tennis, who ended on a very strong note, 19-7 overall, 11-2 in conference play. They beat Arizona in the first NCAA regional game 4-0 before falling in the second round to number 13 Texas A&M, where they got swept 4-0. So good regular season for both of these programs, who continue to be very consistent, but just falling a little bit short in the postseason. And that is this week's edition of Circle the Wagons.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. All right, boys, let's get into some football news. We'll start with some transfer portal news, as I feel like we always do this time of the year. But Reggie Grimes, defensive lineman, heading out of Oklahoma, going to Memphis. I think I want to give credit where it's due. We talked about this pre-spring game, and I think Mark brought up Reggie as a guy to kind of like look for to maybe break out a little in the spring game. And it's funny how, did you not? Am I miss?
I hope not.
I don't know. Not like break out, but like see what he had, like just see if there's anything there from Reggie. But regardless, I don't know who it was.
Hope not. Maybe
it was me. Who knows? But regardless, he's out the door. So Reggie moving on to Memphis. Pat, I want to get your thoughts first. How do you think this affects what OU's doing?
Moving a guy out who is a senior, or a guy who is a senior who, does play in the defensive line, just gives me hope that our defensive line is so good we just don't need him. And I see this as like a good churn positive thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like he's played, but like the production of what he's given isn't what you've wanted out of him.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's a good churn move. Ryan, what do you think?
I mean, this is the aftermath of Dominic Williams, right? Like partially. I mean, this was maybe like in the pipeline already.
Let's he's been in the portal.
Oh.
He just committed. Yes. Okay. Reggie Grimes has been in the portal. I don't know when he entered, but it wasn't.
Okay, I thought he went in recently. So he's just committed as of yesterday to Memphis. Got it. Okay,
yeah,
I'm with you now.
In fact, I'm sure I said something, Mason, but Reggie Grimes actually entered the portal in December.
Jesus.
So
yeah, I remember.
He's taking a little bit.
I did not remember that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't remember that either.
There we go.
Jesus.
All
right.
Took so long.
No, this is not an aftermath of Dominic Williams.
Yeah.
I think this is probably I actually my thought on this kind of changes a little bit, because if you would have asked me before the Dominic Williams news, I would have been like, D-line is where we need the most help. So I don't know if he was like waiting to see like if we brought in other people, and then maybe if we didn't, he would have stayed. I'm not really sure. But however, I think that kind of what Pat said, what you said, Mason, around production. He's from Tennessee, so I think he's from the Memphis area. I don't know, I might be wrong there, but I know he's Nashville area. Okay, so he's closer to home, maybe going to a place where he can get more on field time. This makes sense for someone like that, I think. And I wish him the absolute best.
Yeah, Memphis had a good year last year, Mark.
Yeah, Memphis had a good year that last year. Memphis should be a team that's in the Big 12. I don't know how they missed out on.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Bit of realignment, but
or the ACC.
Like, want to digress from that? Sure, yeah, or the ACC.
Weird.
Here's my thing. I wish Reggie Grimes all of the best. He was a starter in 2022 and had his best season that year for the sub 500 Sooners.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't start last season and was one of the remnants from the previous era that isn't like Danny Stutzman or Billy Bowman or Woody Washington along the defense. So Patrick kind of said it, man, this is good churn. I'm really happy to see him go somewhere else where I think he can succeed. I think Reggie Grimes has a lot of talent, and maybe he needs to be at a place where he can be the guy, hopefully, for that talent to really showcase itself. So, rooting for him. But this is This is fine. He wasn't going to figure into the rotation next season. He didn't really very much this season.
Matt, any thoughts?
Nope. You guys covered it.
Well, a guy who's about the same height as Matt Gann, Gavin Freeman, transferring to Oklahoma State.
So mean.
What?
So mean.
Hey, to who?
Yeah. Sorry.
Look, Jesus.
It's not an insult.
The roast of Matt Gann. Already starting.
Regardless, you could probably return a punt better than Gavin Freeman. I'll say it that much. Okay. So Gavin Freeman transferring.
Catch it.
Yeah. Transferring to Oklahoma State. Wish him the best. Glad he got to stay in state. He's a guy who was an Oklahoma City guy, gets to stay in state. He wasn't going to see the field with the talent that OU has in that wide receiver room now. And honestly, after last year, probably wasn't going to see the field as a special teamer either.
He had his shot and he kind of blew it. And I feel bad for that, but I wish him like the absolute best. Yeah, and I hope he's really successful at OSU.
But is anybody perturbed by him going to Oklahoma State? I mean, I'm not. He's an in-state guy. He probably wants to stay in state.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as he wasn't MVP of the spring game, I kind of knew the writing was on the wall.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, that was his time to shine, and he sucked.
He had a lot of times to shine.
Yeah, no, I appreciate him. He was great for what he was, right? And the coaches very much appreciated him. He was definitely a locker room guy. So wish him all the best. Hopefully he returns some punts for Oklahoma State for touchdowns.
They just thought he was going to be the new Drake Stoops, and he just didn't happen. Just didn't turn out to be, Matt.
Yeah, it really didn't. I'll never forget though the punt. I believe it was the punt return of last season to start off when he got the first touchdown. Listen, never forget. I was amped. I was there. It was a beautiful punt return. Everyone thought, oh, this is what we're going to get all season long. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way. But that's what he was. He was a special teamer and a gadget guy. They didn't really utilize him a lot more than that. So with the wide receiver room stacked the way it is, yeah, he was no longer going to be able to touch or see the field at all. And maybe he'll get some more opportunities at Oklahoma State. So wish him the best. And always will appreciate the memes he gave us the 2 or 3 times.
Mark, anything before we move on?
Yeah, real fast. Just I'm very hopeful that he'll be able to carve out a larger role with Oklahoma State where he's able to run real routes versus the piddly foot bullshit that Oklahoma has done where he's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, either ahead of it or behind it, plus fumbling punt returns. So, I hope that getting the ball in his hands more often will lead to a more consistent player, whereas for Oklahoma, he's been relegated to this bit gadget guy. So hopefully it works out. He wasn't going to play next season. That's another guy like Reggie Grimes. This is good turn to turn a scholarship into someone younger and newer instead of these guys is a positive.
Yep. Mark, I want to stay with you because you dropped a ball today.
Balls.
If you follow Mark on Twitter or follow Program Guys on Twitter, Mark dropped a ball. So Mark, go ahead. Let the people know what we should be expecting.
Yeah, so we talked about it last week, and I finally dropped my ball today for Tristan Haynes, Carl Albert cornerback, to join the Oklahoma Sooners, or at least commit to the Oklahoma Sooners tomorrow when he announces today, if you're listening, May 7th. Tristan Haynes is 6'2", and depending on what website you would describe or you subscribe to, the weight can fluctuate. He's like 160 to 180, one of those guys where the height's going to be there. The length is going to be there. You just need him to fill it out. And if he adds an inch, that's not bad either, right? This is a young guy that he's going into his senior year and is a local. Obviously, Kevin Sperry has left the picture at Carl Albert, but Tristan Haynes is a more than capable athlete, and you expect that team to still have a ton of stars this coming season. He's been a target for Oklahoma all along. Once they miss out on Kobe Sellers last week, you sort of expect them to refocus their efforts here, and I think it's going to prove out for them. This is not just an Oklahoma guy getting an Oklahoma offer. He's got, by my count, 8 SEC offers, including ours. And so this is someone that the teams in the mix were trying to battle. He took an OV to Notre Dame not that long ago. So I think that it's very promising to go ahead and get him in the class, lock up that Midwest city area. And I think he's going to come, man. I think he's but I think he's going to join the 2025 class.
Mark loves when they come when he drops his balls. That's for sure.
But a bang.
Just okay.
I really like that.
Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, I really like that we're winning these Oklahoma battles against other schools. The staff's doing a great job at claiming the state.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We've talked about winning these in-state battles and winning these in-state guys. Like if they're a 4 or 5-star recruit, there's borderline no reason they shouldn't come to Oklahoma. Like you have to win those battles, and sounds like they are. Shout out to Jay Valai and company trying to get this done. And again, we don't know 100%, but Mark dropped his ball, so we're going to go ahead and pretend because you're still 100% if I'm not mistaken, right?
Missed one.
Asterisk.
Missed one.
It's an asterisk.
Oh, asterisk. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not.
It's not official
I've missed it
yet,
so
right?
far. It could turn. Right, it could flip,
Okay.
But if Nate Roberts if he ends up signing with Ohio State, then I do have a permanent one next to the other countless wins. You know?
Yeah,
that'd be called blue balls.
Countless, I think, is like 7.
It's like
amazing.
But we'll see. I might add one today if you're listening.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, it's also. I got some insight. Tristan Hayes also played quite a bit of wide receiver as well, and special teams returning punts. So obviously he has that natural playmaking ability. And I always like to see cornerbacks who also have played wide receiver because that gives them a little bit more insight on routes, what they're looking for, what he's looking for. So I think that will only make him a better cornerback, which is what he's going to play in college. Good height, obviously. Obviously, you want to see him add some muscle and some pounds to him. But again, everything I read about his evaluation, he ran track as well. So he's really got good speed, but having that ability to play wide receiver and to translate that into the next level of college football, I think he'll have a natural ability to play corner in Brett Venables' defense. So this would be a great addition to add to that class.
Nice. Okay, moving on. I have a question to pose to the group, and this is kind of a fun little segment. Comment along with us. But as we transitioned into the SEC, folks, which OU sports program will either rise to the occasion or fall below the occasion? That's probably not a right phrasing, but whatever.
It's okay. You almost nailed it.
Yeah. Will either rise or fall in SEC play, any sport. You can pick anyone, and I'll go ahead and start us off because I think the one that is most likely to kind of drop off, and I hate to say it because I love them, is the women's basketball team. I think they are in for a tough awakening in the SEC. You have teams like LSU, you have the powerhouses like Tennessee who are still there. South Carolina is
they just
crazy good. Yeah, South Carolina is crazy good. I just think it's going to be tough, man. I'm not saying they won't be a good team, but to be up there at the top of like the conference and fighting to win a conference title, you're not going to have that in the SEC. I think there's just too many good teams. So that's who I think may struggle. Am I wrong?
You want me to? Yeah. Are we talking about that, or are we adding our own?
You can add your own, and we can kind of.
I want to talk about that real fast. I think that's a really good one. The one point that we're still going to make the tournament, right? Because more SEC teams make it in women's basketball than in men's basketball. But yeah, sniffing you might be out in the first round of the SEC tournament if you get a bad draw, and then
it's going to be. It's just going to be tough. There's so many more athletes playing SEC women's basketball.
I have faith in Jenny, though. I feel confident that if anybody can take us into it, we have the right coach.
She's the right coach. She's right.
Well, especially if she can utilize the transfer portal like she already has, getting getting a top player out of
yeah.
Oregon State.
Yeah.
You know, that's
I think
massive.
they might be more competitive than you think.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, hey, I said Danny Stetson was a bum, so I'm wrong more than I'm right. You know what I mean?
Okay, mine. I'm gonna say the one to fall. I'm gonna go OU baseball. I'm sorry. Like baseball, SEC is just where it's at. You have
Ryan
Arkansas,
Hiles gonna fight you.
LSU. He might. That's okay. You have Arkansas,
I think he
LSU,
likes the steak.
Tennessee, A&M, Vanderbilt, Florida. Like there's just so many.
Like, Tyson, we talked about this with Heil this
we
past
did.
weekend.
We did.
I think it was either you or Heil read off like the average baseball
attendance
for the SEC.
Yeah, the attendance.
What was it again? Something
so
just
Arkansas and like them were like on average they have like 20 something thousand fans a game. We were like 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have a wake up call coming, and
it just means different.
I'm glad we're doing well this year, and I'm glad that like Skip has gotten to a place where we're doing well. I just think this is going to be one of those situations, probably more than any other sport, where we're going to get punched in the mouth, and it's going to be like, oh shit, like here we are, and it's going to take us a little while to get up there. Not saying we can't, but saying like that to me is the sport that it's going to be tough. And the one that I think will do well, I'm gonna say football, which I've been kind of down on a little bit, but I think that we're putting together, I said 9-3, I think, going into next year, and I still think that's the right number. However, I think that the staff has just been so impressive putting together an elite defense, probably the second best defense in the SEC for next year, arguably. You put that with how much offensive weapons we have, I think we're gonna be good. I don't know. We still might lose 3 games. I'm still okay with that. But I think we might get closer to the top faster than I originally thought with how we've put together this team.
The only thing I want to add to your baseball comment is that all of the teams you mentioned that were really good invest in their baseball programs. Like you look at those stadiums at Arkansas, at A&M, at Vanderbilt, at Florida. They're cathedrals for college baseball. They're LSU. They're massive. And I've been to L. Dale Mitchell. It's cool. It's fine. It's not on par with any of those. So you're gonna have to invest in the baseball team if they want to, compete and do that. And I hope they do. But yeah, I think that's going to be a big driving factor is these kids are going to play at L. Dale in front of 2,500 people. And then they're going to go to Baton Rouge and play in front of 20,000.
20,000.
Screaming.
We even forgot like Ole Miss. Ole Miss is there too.
Yeah, and those
LSU,
and those drunk Aggies screaming out whenever you throw a ball. It's crazy. So,
well, even home games. I mean, they're known to travel, so you could have more away fans than, or at least they're going to have more rowdy away fans than potentially suitors. Maybe that changes with SEC and better competition. But yeah, baseball's in a rude awakening as well.
Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the obvious one that'll have the most success is OU softball. I don't think it matters who the competition is. Now, they'll have a stiffer competition with better SEC opponents.
For sure.
Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, story programs in their own right when it comes to softball and having really good coaching staffs and players that we usually typically play in the postseason. So, but I have no doubts as they play better opponents, they'll continue to recruit better. I mean, who doesn't want to come play for Patty Gasso playing in potentially a better conference year in and year out, especially with the success that she's already had. I mean, there's a reason she's getting a statue and they built a brand new field. They ultimately deserve that. So I don't think the transition will be as hard for OU softball. And I think that's probably the most obvious one that will continue to be successful as we transition.
Pat, what do you got?
Mark, did you want to go first?
Go ahead, man. Or do you want me to go?
I think you should go first.
I have my.
He wants you to go.
He doesn't know.
I wanted to follow Ryan because football is the one that I think is going to maintain, right? Like you go from 6-7 to 10-3 to the recruiting classes that Oklahoma has lined up and the expected on-field performance this year. I mean, DraftKings doesn't think we're going to be all that special. If you saw those lines today that came out, but we are we're underdogs to several teams and that's cool. Yeah. I'm a little more optimistic than that. Yeah, a lot of unknowns, but I think football is one that is going to maintain. I think the staff is building the right way. They're building the right things, and I do not expect like a drastic drop off, especially with the playoff going to a 12-team structure. I don't expect a drastic drop off from OU football. Something that I don't think we've mentioned. I'm going to go with the drop off. Guys, I don't think OU basketball is going to do anything next year.
Yeah.
And we're entering a supposed easier conference, but it's probably more of a reflection on the roster and roster management. But I don't have a lot of hope.
No.
What would give you any hope? So tough situation. It's similar to the baseball Eldell Mitchell thing. There are teams in these guys are going to play in Lexington. They're going to get to go play in Kentucky and Rupp. Crazy. So I think OU's basketball is going to fall off pretty hard next season.
Alabama's building a brand new basketball facility. Like
the only
Arkansas.
Completely agree about basketball. The only reason I didn't pick them was because I honestly think they're going to do better in the SEC than they would in the Big 12 next year. They're going to be bad probably.
But they're going to be worse than they were this year in the Big 12, I think. Where this year we're still fighting for a tournament bid. I don't think we are.
Oh no. No. I don't think we will at all. So
yeah, I think they're in trouble. I think they're in big trouble. Pat, did you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, Pat, you got track and field, tennis,
or you can just volleyball, but
both golfs.
Or you can just pick
wrestling.
What one of us have already said.
Wrestling. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the biggest fall off being the Oklahoma football program and team. And that's because no team who has left the Big 12 has had success. We don't have an SEC culture when it comes to football. The next few years are extremely important. Like we have to have a very good first 2 or 3 years. Otherwise, everything that our coaching staff right now is saying and preaching, I think people will realize isn't the truth. So that means Jackson Arnold has to play great this year and has to have everything cleaned up. That means the defense has to be the second or third best defense in the SEC because that's what everyone's saying that they're going to be. But hey, they haven't ever played against linemen like they're going to play against. So we'll be able to tell real quick. The wide receiving core has a ton of talent, but it's sus. There's a lot of question marks, more question marks than there are optimistic things to look at. If you are like a non-Oklahoma fan, just looking at Oklahoma coming into the SEC. And that's the way I'm looking at it. And then also, if you're taking the question literally, we will never win 8 SEC championships in a row like we won in the Big 12. So we will never have the success. And that will be a huge fall off from like winning multiple back-to-back conference championships to probably maybe doing that once or twice in the next 20 years.
Patrick, can I offer like a reframing for you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the English Premier League, right? There's relegation within this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like a number 1 and then there's a number 2 league.
Yeah.
What just happened is Oklahoma was called up to the number 1 league. So yeah, we won the number 2 league for several years, but no one in that number 2 league ever won a national championship, right? One team made it and was summarily dismissed. This is the call up, baby. You're right. The results won't be the same, but
yeah,
now we're in the big leagues.
Right. That analogy was wonderful, Mark. I was just going to say that what we just listened to was Pat slowly beginning the process of the full Tennessee transition. That will begin this year.
Never seen an offensive line
with the first SEC game that we have in Norman, where he's like, "Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm a little
returning
torn."
all 5 starters on the offensive line.
And then in 2025, when it's in Knoxville, he'll just come out in his like orange shirt, and we'll be like, "The transition is complete. It's done." And it'll all have started here.
Sadly, we're gonna need a Jackson versus Nico segment every week.
I have to.
We do.
Just power rank the two.
Yeah.
Just every week.
We should.
I think we should.
We're gonna
too. Let's just do like all the really good young quarterbacks. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I love it. Comment down below what you think of that segment. What program do you think is going to be okay in the SEC, be good in the SEC, and what program might fall off a little bit? Let us know down below in the comments. We read every single one of your comments. All right, boys, let's go PGP MVP of the week time, and let's move on to our MVPs. Let's go, Matt. We'll start with you. Who's your MVP?
Jesus.
You're watching on YouTube. Dallas Stars. Everyone was counting this team out after going 0-2 at home, being the number 1 seed, playing the number 8 seed, the Vegas Golden Knights, who are the defending Stanley Cup champions. Dallas came back, won 3 straight, lost the 6th game, came back to Game 7 in Dallas last night, where it was a barn burn of a game. But my MVP, this man on my back, Jake Ottinger, the goalkeeper, who gave up 4 goals in the first game, gave up less than 2 and only 1 in the last 2 games. That is what you need from your NHL goalie in the playoffs. Mason, similar with the Boston, Swayman, and the other guy. Goaltenders matter a whole lot. Jake Ottinger showed up when he needed to lead this team to the second round, because the Knights have been a sore in our bottoms for the last few years. So it was a great series, and they move on to play the Colorado Avalanche on Tuesday. Dallas Stars, Jake Ottinger. Woo!
My favorite part about that whole thing is everyone counted out the number 1 seeded Dallas Stars after losing 2 games.
Sure did.
I highly doubt it.
In their defense, there was a statistic. My wife is a big Dallas Stars fan too. Apparently, we are a big playoff. We're big playoff household, I guess.
Yeah, playoff hockey. Playoff hockey.
So I've watched all of these games, and after they lost the first 2, a statistic popped up, and it was like no number 1 seed has ever won a series after going down 0-2 in the playoffs. I read that. So they did something that most teams didn't do. So I was like, when we watched the first 2 games, I remember texting you, Matt, and I was like, they look like crap. And then the game 3, they looked so much better. They looked like a different team. So they kicked it in the gear. Good for them.
They needed to. Gotta love it. I'm gonna need you to be more of a villain towards Matt on this stuff. Actually,
come on,
we don't need this.
Victory green.
I will support the Dallas Stars because I live in Dallas and I don't have another hockey team. I will not support the Mavericks.
The Bruins would love to have you. Mark, who's your MVP?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. There's been some discourse the last week or so. I'm way too online, but there's been some discourse around the wide receiver units in the country, and I'm gonna give my MVP to the Oklahoma wide receiver unit, the core. That Patrick
what about the Texas one, man?
Quote, sus. The Texas one is full of Jonte Cook, who is a talented player we haven't seen do anything, and 3 transfers.
Yeah.
Look, Oklahoma is also counting on a transfer in Deion Burks, so I can't dismiss like every transfer, but aren't those guys in the portal for a reason? Meanwhile, Nick Anderson is on the rise. Andrell Anthony's coming back. Jalil Farouk has a lot to prove, and Deion Burks is going to fill that Drake Stoops spot. I didn't even mention Jaden Gibson there. I didn't even mention Ivan Carrion there. I didn't even mention rising sophomore Jaquez Petaway there. I think that there's a lot of talent in the room, and we're going to see several dudes break out this season in big ways. I think that you're going to see more of an emphasis on throwing the football downfield because Jackson Arnold's able to do it a little bit better. And we're going to see guys have pretty great seasons. So Oklahoma wide receivers, my MVPs. Bang.
Love it. Pat, who's your MVP?
Yeah, I've got K1 Kyler Murray. I saw him just out practicing at a random like football field, and there's
it's that time of year.
Yeah, it was like a random high school or media. Yeah, just personally by like with his boys or something.
No, you.
No,
like,
I didn't
watched
see
him.
No, this is a video.
No, he saw it on social media.
Yeah,
I don't know what California is like.
True. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
There was people repairing the stadium, and he like threw the ball over to them, took pictures. Just a great guy. K1, my MVP.
Love that. Brian, who's your MVP, man?
Hey, can I give 2 since I haven't been here in a few weeks?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Like half people are like, absolutely not. First one, Minnesota Vikings for their draft night, which I thought was exquisite and very well done.
Love the Walter Rouse pick, don't you?
I love the Rouse pick.
Yeah.
You know, I will have to be okay with JJ McCarthy, but we didn't give up the first round.
When do you buy the jersey?
I'm not buying that jersey. If I buy a jersey, it's going to be the other JJ when the extension is signed, but that's got to happen first before I'm doing that.
Feel that.
So anyway, that's my first one. And then my second one is Wemby, French phenom on the San Antonio Spurs. 2 hours ago, just won Rookie of the Year.
Congrats. I didn't even see that.
He's going to be a monster, and he already is. And, you know, I'm just really excited to see what they're able to do with him.
Crazy.
Love
that.
Just
tall.
Good.
Yeah,
like
that's why
Patrick.
Less than 20 wins.
Remember when Patrick was like he can play outfielder in the MLB?
Jesus.
I was thinking about that this week.
Pat, no, you can't.
No, actually, I played kickball last Friday. Dude, I got the yips right now. It's bad.
Oh, no.
we can wrap up, but I got the yips.
No.
Yeah, the team's pretty disappointed. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? You need like 10 times the hand-eye coordination to play baseball that you do to play kickball. Just so you're clear. They're not equal. So if you have the yips playing kickball, you're going to go out there and look like a damn fool.
And you were a soccer player. That's why you're good at kickball. there's so many things here. That's just anyway.
Not enough time.
I need Patrick to go to a batting cage and record the whole thing.
Yeah, I do as well.
Nah, you got a pitch hitter or whatever.
So you're just gonna what?
You play in the field. No, you don't get a pitch hitter. You play in the field. You have to bat.
Right. I'll go less than 30% like most other people.
Pat, no, you won't. You will go 0%.
No, I would.
Pat,
he would.
Pat, listen to me. Listen to me when I tell you this. I
wouldn't hit it.
You will, no matter how many at-bats you get, you will never get a hit in the MLB.
And they won't put you in the field if you can't hit the ball.
You will never get a hit. You could play baseball right now. You could be dropped in an MLB roster and from now and get 3 at-bats a game until the end of the year, you would never get a hit. I'm telling you right now, you do not know what 102 miles an hour looks like coming at
100%, but most of them don't hit the ball anyways.
Pat, oh my God. My
MVP. You have to hit the ball to score. But anyway,
my MVP is the NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs have been fantastic so far this year. Been a whole lot of fun. The Thunder Mavs is going to be an outstanding series. Really looking forward to that series.
It'd be good.
Celtics are absolutely going to mollywop the Cavs. That's going to be fine. But you know, you have the Pacers Knicks. How fun is that? Kind of an old school NBA riverry.
Wolves Nuggets. It's going to be
Wolves
fun.
Nuggets is going to be electric. It's going to be so much fun.
Already is 1-0 going into the night, and Rudy Gobert's not playing.
Yeah.
What happened? He like missed his plane or something, or something happened with the plane, or is that what happened with that situation? I saw he got like lost in like the Denver airport or something. I don't.
That place is spooky.
What?
That's insane.
I don't know. I heard something about the Denver airport and
maybe
like
that's
some
false.
kind of flight
Tinfoil.
Dude, that's crazy.
Rudy Gobert's having potty problems in an airport. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know. You can put on your tinfoil hat. He's the guy who started COVID in the NBA. Just think about it. You know, he's that guy touching all the mics. Think about it. But that's my MVP is the NBA playoffs. They continue to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. Thank God the Celtics beat the Heat. I was going to freaking die if they didn't. But we're through it. Thank Christ almighty. Mark wanted them to lose so bad. I know he did.
No. It's more fun when you're happy, but and especially when Jimmy Butler goes down, it's like,
yeah.
All right, let's just get through this. But
yeah.
The pins and needles with Jimmy Butler healthy is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, it's not fun for me. It's not. I'm glad I'm done with them. All right, and that's going to do it. Episode number 121 is in the books. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel.
Can I ask one question first?
Wait, did Patrick go?
Yeah, Patrick went.
Yeah,
Kyler.
I have a
Kyler,
question.
that's right.
I have a question for Gan. On Tuesday, because the Stars and the Thunder are playing at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you going to watch, and what jersey are you going to wear?
Well, I have 2 TVs, so I'll be watching both simultaneously.
Yeah, but
he'll be wearing
what are you wearing?
Aaron Rodgers jersey.
I will have a Thunder shirt and my jersey over top, so I will wear both.
No,
okay.
Send a picture. Send a picture when you do.
Gotcha.
Sorry, Mason. I interrupted you. I needed to know. Who does he care about more? He says
definitely
watch those.
He says the Thunder, but I don't know if I believe him.
You know who he cares about more? The one who's playing better. That's who he cares about more. And that's going to do it. Episode 121's in the books. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Follow us on all of our social media at Program Guys with a Z. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Like and subscribe while you're there. That's going to do it. Pat, take us out, brother.
Keep pushing it, baby.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being